Danny Duffy pitched his best big league game last night, going a career-best 7 innings and holding the Cubs to only 2 runs. Chris Getz atoned for his error on Friday, driving in the go-ahead run in the 8th, and Joakim Soria had his best inning of the year, striking out all 3 batters he faced in the 9th, and the Royals even the series. Now Luke Hochevar will try to lead the Royals to their first Interleague Series win of the year. Next on Fox Sports Kansas City. We've had 2 big crowds at Kauffman Stadium with the Cubs in town. Chicago took Game 1 on Friday night 6-4, and the Royals bounced back last night, winning Game 2 3-2. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. I'm Ryan Lefevre. The Royals are trying to win this series after snapping a 6-game losing streak last night. You always want to win before you go on the road. The Royals will do that after the game today, a long road trip. And when you send your number 1 pitcher to the mound, Frank, the team expects him to win games like this.
And that's what they want out of Luke Hochevar. When you're number 1, when you go on that mound, you want to feel like you got a chance to win, and you want him to eat innings. And when you get into a losing streak, you want that guy to be the guy that stops that streak.
These are highlights from 3 significant games for Luke Hochevar this year. In fact, thanks to Bob Dutton of the Kansas City Star, it has been renamed a Hochevarian experience. April 20th against the Indians, perfect through 5 innings. He gave up 4 earned runs in the 6th, a couple of balks, ended up losing the game. June 15th at Oakland, a no-hitter through 5 innings. 2 earned runs in the 6th and the 7th, lost that game. And then early in this homestand, no hits through 3 and a third. The Royals lost that game 7-2, so he certainly has to get past that hurdle.
He really does, and sometimes when you hit that little wall in those middle innings, you got to look at your confidence, and if your confidence is there, you got to figure out what you have to do to get through those 3 outs.
Well, one player who is playing with a lot of confidence right now is Alex Gordon. He has a 12-game hitting streak. That's the 3rd longest active streak in the majors. He's got his average up to 290. We'll have more from Kauffman Stadium right after this. Baseball is brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. A lot of tailgaters getting ready to come into Kauffman Stadium for the final game of this Royals-Cubs series. And here's how the Cubs are lined up. Starlin Castro has had a good series with 4 hits, now 3rd in the National League in batting. Carlos Pena has been batting 7th. He'll move up to number 4. And between those two, Aramis Ramirez. He'll get half the day off as the DH, so we won't see him in the field, Frank, but we'll see him at the plate.
Well, he's swinging a hot bat right now on Friday night. He had a big night against Bruce Chen with two base hits and a double. And then last night against Danny Duffy, he picked on a curveball and launched this ball out of the ballpark. So he's a guy that Luke Hochevar's really got to be concerned with today.
Let's take a look at the Royals defensively today, presented by Ram Trucks, with Gordon, Cabrera, Francoeur in the outfield. Moustakas, Escobar, Getz, and Hosmer around the horn. And it's Matt Trainer behind the plate for Luke Hochevar, who pitches well during the day. It's been another great series for the Royals outfield. They have 4 outfield assists in 2 games against the Cubs. And Alex Gordon last night with his 12th of the year. That leads the major leagues. It's the Royals and the Cubs, and the first pitch is next. In high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Get no-fee HD with digital TV from Time Warner Cable. We go out to left field and welcome in Joel Goldberg.
Well, Ryan, you were talking about the outfield assists, and 3 of them over the last 2 games for Alex Gordon. Alex says about the opponent running on him, I like it. He says maybe they're treating him more like a left fielder than a third baseman. He says he starts to get a little bit of an adrenaline rush when he sees a runner get to second base, and then he starts to visualize that throw a little bit, play it out in his mind, and then when it happens, that adrenaline kicks up to another level when the ball is off the bat, tries to get it home. He said last night's was tougher because it was rolling a little bit slower to him. He had to get in there quickly, but excited to get it done. That's the story from out here in left field, guys.
All right, thank you, Joel. Here's Luke Hochevar, who pitches very well during the day. 10 wins in his last 2 seasons, and 8 have come in day games. That's good news for the Royals.
Looking for a good outing today from Luke. The Royals definitely need him being their ace guy. It needs him to go deep in the game, eat some innings, and keep that bullpen from having so many outs at the back of the game. But let's get to that third time around lineup. I think is going to be key today. Just see what happens in that fifth inning.
1 ball, 1 strike. Kosuke Fukudome started on Friday and then came on late in last night's game. 1 for 6 in the series. Down 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fukudome in Japan before coming over to the Cubs. Won 2 batting titles and he won 4 Gold Gloves. Two balls, 2 strikes.
You always believe that thinking is going into Wrigley Field when the wind's blowing out, one of the best hitting ballparks in baseball. And you'd like to see that home run numbers go up a little bit more for Fukudome.
And a foul tip, and down he goes. So a good start for Hochevar. And it is truly a day game today, a summer day game. It is steamy at Kauffman Stadium. 87 degrees. It feels much warmer than that, especially when the sun's out. Game started on time at 1:10, and the time and temp is brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. So as far as comfort at the ballpark, the Royals are getting out of town at the right time and heading to the right place. They'll be in San Diego, California tomorrow. 1 strike after a big swing from Starlin Castro, who has a career high 9-game hitting streak. One ball, 1 strike. Batting at .327. Second in the National League in hitting and tied for the league lead with 21 doubles. He has the second most hits in the National League with 103. And there's base hit number 104 and his 5th in this series.
Man, this got to be a great start. This is a great start to a young career. And I mean, this guy, he brings not only great skills at shortstop, but this ball's going down and moving into him, and he's able to get the bat hit of the bat down to this ball and hits it firm in the left field. I mean, he's a guy that really, when he swings, it's almost like an effortless swing. What a career. He's got a great career ahead of him.
21 years old, or 21 years young. And now ground ball to Escobar, out at second. So that erases Castro and Ramirez, and Hochevar sees only 3 in the first inning. Royals are coming up against right-hander Randy Wells with Melky Cabrera, Eric Hosmer, Billy Butler, Alex Gordon, Jeff Brancourt, Mike Moustakis, and Matt Trainer, Alcides Escobar, and Chris Getz. Randy Wells hasn't been pitching deep into games. He has spent some time on the disabled list. He had a right forearm strain after his first start, so in his 6 starts altogether, only going about 5 innings per start. He has not won since back on April the 4th, and that was 6 starts ago. He was out for quite a long time with that forearm strain. He made no starts between April the 4th and May the 28th.
Yeah, he's not overpowering either. I mean, he's got it. Depends a lot on the movement.
Bare hand play, throws it away, and Pena leaving the bag just to make sure it didn't get any worse. And Cabrera reaching on a bunt. So 1 pitch into it, the Royals have the leadoff man on.
Well, Wells gets to this bunt, but when he got to it right, he couldn't either get his body turned well enough to make a nice throw. His arm dropped down, the ball ran back to the foul side of first base, and Cabrera seeing that he needs to hustle back to first base after that play, but a good way to start the ball game.
And he gets a bunt single. His 89th hit of the season. That's his 2nd bunt hit of the year. 28-year-old Randy Wells pitching to Eric Hosmer.
I wonder how many pitchers ever, when they start the game, the bunt ever just pops in their mind. So this guy might bunt. I mean, a guy like Gerard Dyson, yeah, but Melker Cabrera, you thinking he's going to bunt? First pitch of the ball game. So I'm sure it caught Randy Wells by surprise.
And a base hit to left field for Hosmer. Hosmer last night put an end to an 0 for 10 with a base hit, and now starts today with a solid base hit to left.
Well, just take a nice swing there, and just stayed on top of that ball and drove it into left field. And normal times you'll get too aggressive, but you see right here, Ryan, the head goes down with the ball, the back stays, everything stays back, and everything stays intact, and he's able to drive that ball that way versus just slice it over there. So he stayed behind that pitch very well.
So 2 on and nobody out. And the slider is outside to Billy Butler. Billy has hit in 6 in a row. He is 9th in the American League with that .304 batting average. And he is 4th in the league with his .404 on base percentage. And that's lined to left center field. So Cabrera comes around third. Hosmer will go to third. There's nobody at second base, but Billy Butler didn't read it right away. Cubs had everybody over on the left side of second, so they assumed that was going to be a double. And there's runners at first and third with a run home.
Well, Billy gets a pitch up, and he stays right through it, and line drive over shortstop, and that was the easy score for Cabrera from second base. Hosmer does a great job hustling first and third, reading that play, and Billy, seeing second base open, probably wouldn't have had a chance to get there. LeMahieu really shouldn't have left second base until that ball actually got by the the outfielders, and went to the wall, but he actually went over to the cutoff position a little bit too early, so a different runner would have probably ended up on second base.
So Billy has hit in 7 in a row. That's his 34th RBI. And the Royals have come out swinging against Randy Wells.
Well, Wells, he's not going to be overpowering. He's going to be around the plate. He loves to sink his fastball. He throws a slider with some different speeds on it.
Line off of Castro's glove. So another run scores. And Butler going for third. Gordon is into second base. Castro just gave up on that ball after it went off of his glove. And Reed Johnson had to run in from Carney to get it. And everybody moved up another base.
Well, I mean, he made a nice dive, but he's got to get up and he's got to really go after that ball. He just jogged and just kind of waited. And it really actually cost his team 2 bases right there. Alex kept going, and right away, you can see right away, the ball pops out of his glove, and he kind of settles for first base right there, but he sees that he's not hustling after this ball, and then he goes all the way into second base. So that's a mental mistake by Castro at shortstop.
So it is ruled a double, and Alex is 23rd of the year, and now he has a 13-game hitting streak. A double off the shortstop's glove. Still nobody out. 4 straight hits, 2 runs home, and it's 0-1 on Francoeur. This is the first time in this inning that a Royals hitter will see a third pitch. Melky bunted the first pitch. Hosmer swung at the second pitch. Butler swung at the second pitch. Gordon swung at the second pitch, all of them putting the ball in play. So Wells is throwing strikes, but maybe the adjustment is he is throwing too many strikes.
Too many strikes, and they're up in the zone. The ball's not sinking, not getting his ground balls. The defense, however, they're going to have to kind of shake themselves a little bit and say, hey, we got a ball game here. We need to get on track. And right there, you saw 2 almost mental mistakes. You saw 1 and 2 almost when LeMahieu went over to cut off versus staying at second base. And that could have been an extra 90 feet there for the Royals.
Still 0-2 on Francoeur.
And Castro making that nice attempt at that line drive, but then when he gets by, just jogging after the ball, and that cost him actually 2 bases in that situation.
Francoeur hit a 2-run home run in game 1 and then scored the go-ahead run last night. Slider is blocked by Soto in a 2-2 tie in the bottom of the 8th inning. Jeff Francoeur with 1 out, batting for Mitch Meyer, walked. He stole second base and scored on the Chris Getz infield single. Line to right field. Alex will be held at third. Butler scores. It is 3-0. Still nobody out.
You want to see how to hit a slider? That's how you hit a slider down and away. You just stay right on top of it and hit it the opposite way. And Francoeur does a good job right here and got himself an RBI. Billy Butler comes down from third.
So Francoeur with his 46th RBI. That leads the Royals right after Alex Gordon got his 44th in this inning. So 5 straight hits to greet Randy Wells in the bottom of the first inning. The Royals have as many runs with nobody out in the first, and they did all of last night. Let's take a look at the Cubs defensively today. Soriano, Johnson, Fukudome in the outfield. Blake DeWitt is at third base today with Castro, LeMahieu, and Pena. And Giovanni Soto has caught all 3 games for Chicago. So Gordon at third, Francoeur at first, and Mike Moustakas at the plate. 0-1. Two hits and 7 at-bats against the Cubs for Moustakas. Has also reached with a walk. He has a 4-game hitting streak going back to the Arizona series. And it's inside 1-1. Another stop by Soto. And the runners will hold. 2 balls and 1 strike.
And Moose right here just got to get his pitch in this situation. He wants to try to drive something to the outfield. He just try to stay away from that sinker, stay away from the ground ball.
And another stop, 3-1. A key statistic for the Royals on offense in this series is runners in scoring position. In game 1, when the Cubs won 6-4, the Royals were just 1 out of 7 with runners in scoring position. Last night they were 5 out of 14, and now 3 for 3 in the first inning alone. Moustakas pounds it foul. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, really not a pitch you really wanted to swing at 3-1. That's breaking ball going down underneath your swing. So that's where, as a young hitter, you just got to start looking for your pitch in a 3-1 count. If it's not your pitch, just take it and go to 3-2 and get it on that pitch. But don't chase a pitcher's pitch on 3-1.
Francoeur takes off, and Moustakas walks. So the first 6 reach, 3 runners home, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. So now what Mike Quade had in mind in the final game of this series, the Cubs will be heading home. Royals will be beginning a long road trip in San Diego tomorrow, and a call has been made to the bullpen with nobody out in the bottom of the first.
I'd say Randy Wells had Moustakas, a young hitter, up there and had him 3-1, 3-2, and didn't really do a good job in trying to get him to chase. But you got to throw a strike right there. A walk right there kills it.
Line to left. So Gordon will tag up, and even the first out of the inning produces a run. Matt Trainer gets Alex Gordon to the plate, and the Royals lead 4-0. Fourteenth RBI of the year for Matt Trainer. Chicago Cubs won game 1 of this series. They have won game 1 in their last 5 series, but in the remaining games of those series they are 2-9, and they are on the express towards 2-10. Down 4-0 in the bottom of the first.
Not a good start. All you hope now is you can get out of this inning and leave it at 4-0 and give yourself a chance to come back. But the Royals have an opportunity to really blow this game wide open right here.
Escobar, 2 out of 6 against the Cubs. A couple of runs scored. The runners start, then stop. And it was synchronized quite well. I don't know if that was a planned play or if Mike Moustakas was just really reading Francoeur well, because they both took about 2 or 3 steps, and it seemed like they both slammed on the brakes at the same time.
Well, he's definitely got to read Francoeur. There's no sign. He just got to watch him, and if he continues to go, he'll go. But you always want to be on the same page. It'd be nice to know exactly what pitch he's going to steal on so you can get even better, John. But you basically just got to watch the runner on second base and see what he does.
That's exactly what Moustakas was doing, and same thing on that last pitch. Trying to keep an eye on Francoeur and Escobar at the same time.
Yeah, the key is not to take too many steps, and then you get a back pick at first base.
So 1 ball, 2 strikes. .209 in the month of May, and those numbers spiking at the beginning of the last road trip when the Royals went to Anaheim, Oakland, and St. Louis, and Escobar hit .545. So he's got his overall batting average up to .251. Runners go again, a strikeout and a throwout double play. So a tough end of the inning, but it is a 4-run bottom of the first against Randy Wells. Is brought to you by AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. By Panera Bread Catering. Order online at PaneraKansas.com. And by Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. That's about how big the baseball looked to the Royals in the bottom of the first inning, when they came up with 4 runs on 5 hits against Randy Wells. That's a good place to be for the kids today. It is a hot, steamy day in Kansas City. Luke Hochevar faced only 3 in the bottom of the first inning. Gave up a hit and then got a ground ball double play from Aramis Ramirez. And if you were with us in the top of the first, we reminded you of how much success Luke has had over the last 2 years in day games. 8 of his 10 wins the last 2 years have been during the day. And he's gotten great run support. The Royals have scored about 7 runs per game in those day games. And here they give him 4 in the first inning today. And Melky Cabrera didn't have to move as Carlos Pena lines to him, 1 down in the second. As part of our Fox Sports Supports charitable initiative, we are proud to wear these pins during our 2011 Fox Sports Kansas City season to support Stand Up to Cancer and their work to fund groundbreaking research that helps accelerate treatment to patients. For more information, visit standuptocancer.org. Reed Johnson came on defensively Friday night, started last night, and was 2 for 4 with a stolen base. Very high in the air on a bright day. Moustakas using his glove and has the sunglasses on, and he lost it. He didn't have a play, but you can understand on a day like today how that ball would blend in perfectly with the overcast and then the glare to go with it.
Yeah, I think what fans have to understand that, even though guys have glasses on, if they can keep the ball on the outer edges of the sun, they can catch that ball. But when the ball gets right in the center of the sun, it really doesn't matter what you have on. You're just not going to see that ball. I think as a precaution, though, you all at least have glasses.
Very defensive swing to stay alive. 0-2 on Reed Johnson. A little bit outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. First time Luke Hochevar has faced the Chicago Cubs. Luke with just 1 win in his last 9 starts, but the Royals have only scored 25 runs in those 9 starts. So big run support for him already today with 4 in the first. He has 2 strikeouts, getting Reed Johnson, and there are 2 down in the second.
That's a real good slider by Luke. You don't know whether to use his curveball or his slider, but that's a good slider right there, right on the outside corner down. And just real tight right there. Perfect pitch.
And now pitching to Blake DeWitt.
Luke has gone through a lot of pitches. He started with the fastball, curve, change. Then he went to the splitter for a little bit, and then he's got the cutter. I mean, he's just so many pitches that you try to figure, okay, what are your 3 best pitches? And I think he's had the most success in most of his starts with the fastball, curveball, and the cutter. You don't see the changeup an awful lot.
Slice to left field, and it drops in front of Alex Gordon. Blake DeWitt has a 2-out single, his first hit of this series. The Sikeston, Missouri boy, Blake DeWitt.
You look at a pitch like this, is a slider going down, and you see how the ball just comes off the bat, and in his mind he's trying to pull it, but he actually cuts the ball out and just sort of cues it out in the left field. That's what makes it hard for a left fielder. That ball has a lot of turnover when it goes out there.
Fouled back by Alfonso Soriano. Quiet series for him, just a couple of singles. The Cubs have him signed through 2014. Down in the count, no balls, 2 strikes.
He's one of those guys that he can hit. He's got 14 home runs, but just the inconsistencies of his years has been the biggest thing. A lot of injuries, those things have played a big part. He's coming off of a quadricep injury, and we were looking at him run the other night, and you wonder if he's completely healed from that.
Had some pretty big home run years, but doesn't really have the RBIs to go with him. You're hitting around 30 home runs a year and only driving at around 70. Those 30 home run guys, the big RBI guys, I mean, you're at 110, 120, aren't you?
Well, the big ones are, to his defense, he led off for a while, and that doesn't help you when you're leading off. But I just hope you get more windy days in Chicago when the wind's blowing out.
Back in 2006, Alfonso Soriano became the first player in Major League history to have a 40-40-40 season. 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases, and 40 doubles. Chased a slider down and away. Hochevar strikes out 2 in a scoreless second. Bottom of the second. Here's a look at today's Sprint You Call It question. Who is the next pitcher inducted into the Royals Hall of Fame? Al Fitzmaurice, Bud Black, we'll see him tomorrow. Charlie Leibrandt or David Cohn. Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, followed by a space, and then A, B, C, or D. Gets one hop to Pena, raised to the base, and Pena able to get there in front of Chris Getz, who had an infield single in the game-winning RBI in the 8th inning last night.
You're not going to find many first basemen as agile as Carlos Pena is over there at first base. He's not only made a nice play going to his right, was able to get back and take this play himself. A lot of times the first baseman will make this play and he'll look for the pitcher, but he knew right away he was going to do this all by himself and got the job done.
Pena won a Gold Glove in 2008 when he was playing with Tampa Bay. Also a huge year for him at the plate. Castro knocks down the short hop and throws out Melky Cabrera. Melky 1 for 2. So a much different start for Randy Wells in this inning after the first 6 reached against him in the first. Remember, you can stay connected to the Royals on Twitter by following @Royals. For breaking news, instant game discussion, and special discounts, there's no better place. Follow @Royals today. Eric Hosmer had very much of a Eric Hosmer type swing when he singled to left in the first inning. Came around to score. Fought that pitch off 0-2.
You know, sometimes when you swing really hard like Eric Hosmer does, it just takes a little bit of the head off the ball just at the point of contact. So you get the pitches that you think you should hit and you don't really hit them well, and it also puts a little length to your swing.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Hosmer's first 2 or 3 weeks after he was called up, he was hitting the ball hard everywhere. Up the lines, to the gaps, to center field. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And a pitch down and away against Wells in the first inning. And with a nice smooth swing, hit a line drive to left field. Along with Melky Cabrera, Billy Butler, and Alex Gordon, scoring the 4 runs in the bottom of the first. Down on strikes, so Wells has a 1-2-3 second. Royals lead 4-0. Royals Baseball is brought to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And by Sonic. This is how you Sonic. And around they go. Which is how Randy Wells felt in the bottom of the first inning, watching the Royals score 4 runs, the first 6 reached. Billy Butler, Alex Gordon, Jeff Francoeur, Matt Traynor driving in the run, so a big lead for Luke Hochevar, who has 2 scoreless innings. 3 strikeouts already and a double play turn behind him. You'll get Giovanni Soto, DJ LeMahieu, and then the top of the order, Kosuke Fukudome. Good pitch over the outside, 1-1 on Soto, who homered last night, but that's his only hit of the series, adding at 212. Two and one.
Yeah, we talked about him going out on rehab and just staying just a couple games, and when you've been on the DL and then all of a sudden you just go down for 2 games, it's kind of hard to get back in the live pitching at that, just after 2 games you still expect your bat to be there. Normally you at least spend a week and get those at bats built up a little bit and get your legs under you a little bit. So he's probably fighting a little bit of that.
And that ball is belted to left field. With the heat it will carry, and it's gone. Giovanni Soto, his batting average isn't very impressive, but he's hit 2 impressive home runs the last 2 games. And it is 4-1.
Well, you called it, Ryan, with the weather the way it is. That ball got out of here in a hurry, and this is one of the few pitches that Luke left up out over the plate, and Soto really did a good job at making him pay for it. This ball got out in a hurry, just a line drive in the left field seats.
Good movement on that pitch. A strike to DJ LeMahieu.
That kind of showed you, regardless of how much your batting average say, when you make mistake pitches, the guys can still make you pay for them.
1-1 on LeMahieu. 3 out of 7 in games 1 and 2 with a run scored. And got the call there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Luke, in his last start, gave up a home run to the Diamondbacks in the 3rd inning. He had gone 43 innings without giving up a home run. He started with 3 perfect innings against Arizona and only 1 hit allowed in the first 4 innings, but then 5 runs, 7 hits in innings 5 through 7. And early on, home runs were a problem for Luke, but he has cleaned that up recently. And it's also important to point out that of the now 15 home runs he has given up this year, 13 have been solo home runs.
Well, that's how you want to do it. You just hope that they're early enough in the game and they don't cost you a game late.
Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Before getting hurt last year, Hochevar was having his best major league season, and he only gave up 9 home runs in over 100 innings. LeMahieu fouls another pitch away, and it's still 2 balls, 2 strikes on the former LSU Tiger and a teammate of Lewis Coleman in 2009 when LSU beat the University of Texas in the College World Series. Got himself out. Pitch got away from Luke, and it got away from LeMahieu. So Luke, after the home run, comes back and strikes out his 4th.
Well, he really tied him up with this pitch. It's supposed to be on the outside corner, but you see how far it ended up inside, and just rolled right up in on LeMahieu, and he just couldn't hold up on it.
You know, it just struck me, we haven't been putting together the list this year, have we?
No, we haven't. We haven't started one.
Yeah. June the 26th is probably a little too late.
Well, we do a second half one.
I'll declare that one the winner for the first half without seeing all the tape. That one's good enough for me. Your thoughts?
I've seen some worse, but since we just talked about it today, that'll be number 1.
Rasuke Fukudome struck out in the first. Hochevar got him with a fastball. So just 1 out of 7 in this series. And that was not a strike. So he helps out Hochevar. 2-1. Fukudome shaking his head, realizing that wasn't a good choice. Down by 3 runs. Cubs need runners, and they need Hochevar to throw pitches. Three balls, 1 strike.
Yeah, watching Fukudome, he sort of reminds you you're watching Matsui for the A's. I mean, just the stances are almost identical, and the way they pull off the fastball, they like the ball middle land. It's almost like they use that to generate bat speed and generate power.
Japanese pitchers all are somewhat within the same mold in their motions as well. That's Hochevar's first walk, so a runner at first with 1 out. We remind you to look for the Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment later in today's game. And Luke Hochevar would like to be a part of that. Just 1 win in his last 9 starts. Starlin Castro singled in the first inning. Takes way outside. So he has a new career high with a 10-game hitting streak. So here we are a couple of weeks before the All-Star break, and Castro already has more than 100 hits. 2-0. And now Bob McClure is going to go out and visit with Hochevar. He'll be joined by catcher Matt Trainer. This is one of those days, and we'll have days like this all through July and August and into early September. I mean, I don't think it's ever the goal for a pitcher to be out there for a long time, but on a day like today, you're going to wear down more, and you're really going to compromise your defense with long innings.
Well, you just want those pitches just to economize your pitches on days like this.
While they talk it over, we'll remind you that today is a carsoup.com email the booth day. So go to carsoup.com/Royals. CarSoup will ask you for your zip code. Fill that in, as well as your social security number and all the numbers to your major credit cards. No, I'm just kidding. Just your zip code. You'll be sent to a different page where you can submit your question, and Joel Goldberg is on the other end, and we'll check in with Joel a couple of times today and read some of your questions. Well, on one hand, you can say the Cubs aren't being very patient with Hochevar's slider, especially in hitters counts, or Hochevar's slider is so good that they're just not picking it up.
He's making real good pitches with it, and especially in good counts too. Hitting counts, he's making good pitches with that slider. And I tell you, he used a curveball a couple of times last night. It didn't work too well.
Out at second base, gets to Hosmer, double play, and the second turn behind Hochevar today. Game. She developed the 1 year to go celebration, an event for the Kaufman Center for Performing Arts. She raised critical funds to make the performing arts accessible to the entire metro area through the new facility. So we hope she's enjoying the game today. Royals in front 4-1 with Billy Butler leading off the bottom of the third. All 4 runs for the Royals coming in the first inning. Billy in the middle of it with a single, giving him a 7-game hitting streak. Drove in a run, his 34th, and he came around to score. ball, 2 strikes. And then Randy Wells pulled it together in the second inning, getting the Royals on fewer than 10 pitches. 3 up, 3 down with his second strikeout. Wells will see Butler, Gordon, and Francoeur. Still 1-2. Pretty good scouting to get Randy Wells. The Cubs took him in 2002 in the 38th round out of a junior college, Southwestern Illinois Junior College. He is from Belleville, Illinois, just outside of St. Louis. Castro to the middle, throws from the outfield grass, and there's one away in the bottom of the 3rd. And now Alex Gordon, who had an RBI double in the first inning, and the subject of today's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. Longest major league hitting streaks. Ryan Braun so far 0 for 2 today. Nick Markakis has extended his streak with a base hit, and Alex at 13 in a row. Got his 23rd double in the first with an RBI. His career high is 19 in a row, and he did that earlier this year.
It's really nice to see him having a good year. Anytime you go through a whole season of transition, breaking down your swing, learning something new all over again, and to come out and really have a year like he's having right now, that should be a signal to all players that you don't have to wait forever to make a change. As soon as you realize that your coaches are telling you that, hey, this is what you have to do, then the sooner you buy into it, it seems like the sooner you're going to have success at this level.
And tough to pitch to today. He has a double that was up the middle and now a base hit to left field.
But you saw he tracked his off-speed pitch, Ryan, and it's almost like he said, okay, it's away, I'm just going to hit it away. I mean, nice, easy swing, didn't overswing, just went right with the pitch.
He started the game at 290, 293 after his first hit, so getting closer and closer to 300 as Francoeur takes down and in. He is at the moment 80 points better now than where he was at the end of last year.
That's outstanding.
2 balls and no strikes on Francoeur. He had an RBI single in the 4-run first. His 46th RBI to lead the Royals. He had been 0 for 8 in the past against Randy Wells. And another base hit for Francoeur.
One thing I don't think I told, if I was a pitcher, I wouldn't throw Francoeur anything slow when it comes inside. He's got that long swing and it's just right there for him. But he does a good job. If you watch his head doesn't pull off of this pitch. It stays right down with it, right down through it. And that's why he's able to take that ball. Even though it's a little bit out front, he's still able to take that ball and hit a line drive in between short and third.
So 2 on 1 out to Mike Moustakas. And he's after the first pitch into right field. It will carry all the way to the track. Fukudome to bring it down. It sure didn't sound like he got all of it, but on a day like today, you never know. So Moustakas is out, and now runners at first and third.
Well, you get a pitch that you want, and you think you're going to center it, but it sounded like he did hit it up on the bat a little bit more than he would like to, and just sort of cut that swing off. Didn't really get through that swing, and that's why that ball didn't go as far as he wanted it to go. But in most ballparks, that's a dangerous ball right there.
And that'll bring up Matt Trainer. A sacrifice fly for Trainer in the first inning. Strike over the outside, 0-1.
Francoeur and Gordon, if Francoeur goes, this is a good time for a double steal if you want to try it. If Francoeur can entice a throw to second base, But the Cubs have probably already come to grips on where they're going to throw this ball if Francoeur takes off. If they're going to try to throw him out or just hold it.
No swing. Tim Timmons is the umpire at first base. Two and one. Again started to swing. They'll ask for another appeal, and once again Tim Timmons says no swing. So it is 3-1 on Trainer.
But a 3-1 count here, even though it's 2 outs, you can run and hit in this situation and be almost like a hit and run. And if Francoeur does run, he's running under protection of the hitter in this situation. So you got one pitch to play with if you want to do it.
He is running. Swung on and miss. Here's the double steal to the plate, and Alex is out. It looked like he had beat the throw. But perhaps Soto's left foot denied him an opportunity to touch home plate. Royals are scoreless in the third. Had beaten the throw, but maybe Soto's left foot got in the way. His foot did get in the way, but Alex was able to wrap around. He avoided the tag. Watch the tag here that Alex has his hand on home plate, Frank. No tag.
I think he's safe at home plate. The only thing that I don't like about that is I don't like on a bang play on a first and third double steal. I just don't like to see that base runner go head first in the home plate.
Popped up. And Hosmer coming down from first. Look out. Trainer hangs on. And what might have gone wrong there, you could see and you could hear Hosmer calling for it. And Trainer may have just assumed that it was his ball. Listen in here.
Yeah, he's right there. He didn't have far to go, so he's camped under it. But, you know, that's when the first baseman coming down on a high fly like that's got to look down and see where that catcher is. And and Trainer didn't call it. He just assumed that it was going to be his ball right there.
So 1 away, and now Carlos Pena, who lined to Melky Cabrera in the second inning. And when I say line to Melky Cabrera, I mean line right to Melky Cabrera. Pena batted 7th in the first 2 games. And Mike Quade has him batting 4th today. He came into the series a hot hitter, and especially in the home run department. He had homered in 3 straight games when the Cubs arrived, and he had 5 home runs in his previous 7 games. And so far, the Royals have kept him in the ballpark.
Yeah, the Cubs, another team that's struggling to get that offense going and get that sustained offense. So they move their hitters around, trying to put them in the best position to drive in some run.
And Trainer makes the play again. Take a look at today's Time Warner Cable wideband internet pitch speeds. 91 for Randy Wells, 94 for Luke Kochaver, who has 4 strikeouts, only 1 walk. He's given up 1 run, 3 hits in 3 2/3 innings.
So we've seen the same infielder and outfielder make 3 outs in the same inning. Have you seen a catcher get 3 pop-ups in the same inning? That would be a rarity.
If I have, I haven't. I don't remember it. 0-1 on Reed Johnson. I want to remind you that Royals Alumni Fantasy Camp is coming up January 30th through February 3rd in Surprise, Arizona. You will play with 18 former Royals, including George Brett, Frank White, Mike Montgomery, Jeff Montgomery. Who's Mike Montgomery? The left-handed pitcher.
Omaha.
Someday he'll be at Royals Alumni Fantasy Camp. Sorry, Monty. Although I've heard that Mike Montgomery is being referred to as Monty in the minor leagues. I don't know if that'll catch on right away once he gets to the big leagues. But anyways, Jeff Montgomery will be at this one. Mike Montgomery, you're going to have to wait a while for that, we hope. 816-504-4150. As soon as I said it, it just didn't sound right.
Well, there was a Monty Montgomery who pitched for the Royals in the early days. So when Jeff came to the team, I originally started calling him Monty. He probably prefers Jeff.
Hit well to left field. Alex goes back, and that just barely stayed in. And look at that play by Alex. Didn't get much on the throw, and he's mad at himself. And he played that bounce perfectly. And if it's more of a typical Alex Gordon throw, I think he's got Reed Johnson by a wide margin, but he spiked it in the grass.
So we talked about how well these outfielders play those hops off the wall, but didn't give himself the chance to take that crow hop. He just sort of took it, spun, and let it go. But if he takes that one extra crow hop, that little extra second, he got the ball so quick, and then he would have been able to get more on that throw. But that was all arm right there. Didn't allow his legs a chance to help him make that throw.
So Johnson just missed a home run. And now Blake DeWitt. And a soft liner is up the middle and into center field. Johnson will score. So with 2 outs and nobody on, the Cubs get a run. And it is 4-2. Blake DeWitt is 2 for 2.
You know, it's not how hard you hit it, it's where you hit it. In this pitch, there's a slider that got in on DeWitt. It just hit it above the trademark. Didn't hit it hard, but just hit it in a perfect spot on the infield, right back through the middle. And Johnson was able to score easy on this ball in the right center field.
And now Alfonso Soriano. Kochaver struck him out with a good curveball in the second inning. Two balls and no strikes. Blake DeWitt has not attempted a stolen base.
All right, Soriano seems to be able to lay off those tough pitches on the outside corner early in the count, but then it gets down to his last strike, and you throw that same pitch, and he'll chase it. I mean, that's an odd thing. You don't usually see that too often. Usually, if you chase a slide off the plate, you do it first strike, second strike, and third strike. But he seems to lay off of it those first two strikes. You get him in the strike three situation, just throw the slider away, and he's been chasing.
It's 3-0, but with 2 outs, and Soriano representing the tying run. Hochevar has to pitch carefully here on 3-0. And he does. He goes with a slider, and there are 2 on for Soto, who homered in his last at bat. And once again, Bob McClure is going to go out and chat with Hochevar. Well, we're not far away. Coming up in just a little more than 2 weeks, baseball's biggest stars will gather together in the Arizona desert for one spectacular night in the summer's biggest event, as Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2011 Major League All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix at 7 p.m. only on Fox. So with 2 outs and nobody on, a double by Johnson that just barely stayed in the park. Blake DeWitt singled him home. Soriano with a 4-pitch walk, and now Giovanni Soto will hit a line drive home run in the 3rd inning. Soto was the National League Rookie of the Year in 2008. Sliced up the right field line, and that's fair. We'll see how far Soriano will go, and will be held by DeJesus as Francoeur just heaves it to the plate. Jeff Francoeur, it's almost like he has a set of eyes on the back of his head. He is as good as anybody at just picking up the ball with his target behind him, turning and making a perfect throw to his target.
Yeah, I think too, Ron, he kind of knows by the situation on the field where the throw has to go, and there's no hesitation when he picks his ball up. He knows he's got to go toward the plate with that throw, with a runner on first base.
So because of that throw, the Royals are still in the lead, and now 2nd and 3rd for DJ LeMahieu. That ball's hit hard to right to Getz. So the Cubs get 2 after 2 outs and nobody on, and now it's a 1-run game. Thoroughbred Ford. Find the new Ford F-150 you're looking for at thoroughbredford.com. So a 4-0 Royals lead is now 4-3 to the bottom of the 4th inning. Matt Trainer will lead off, and we will check in with Joe Goldberg. In just a moment, I guess. Trainer was standing at the plate when Alex Gordon was caught stealing on a double steal attempt. At least in the box score it goes down as a caught stealing, but the replay showed us that Alex actually got around the tag of Giovanni Soto. Trainer with a sacrifice fly his first time up, and he's had in the count 2 balls and no strikes. Got to hand it to Randy Wells. He still has a long way to go, but he gave up 4 runs in the bottom of the first. The first 6 Royals reached, but now 2 scoreless innings, and he's fallen behind Matt Trainer 3-0. Now Cetus Escobar on deck, and then Chris Getz. And 1. 3 years ago, Randy Wells, one of those Rule 5 guys you don't hear much about, because he was taken by the Blue Jays in 08, but then he was returned. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Trainer thought he had a pretty good feel for the strike zone, as he's been behind the plate for Luke Hochevar. He thought that was ball 4.
You tell you, anytime you walk away before that call is made, it doesn't look good.
That is ball 4. So leadoff walk. Trainer on base again with a walk. And now let's check in with Joel.
All right, Ryan, thanks. Good to see Alcides Escobar out here on the field playing today. It was a painful night for him last night. Got hit by a pitch in the 8th inning and went down on it. And the concern, of course, you hit that wrist, it could be dangerous. It ended up hitting him on the forearm, but above the wrist, below the elbow, and he knew when that hit him. He said it hurt, but it hit him in a good spot because it definitely missed the wrist. So just a lot of pain on that one, nothing more. Earlier in the game, he had also hurt his ankle sliding into home plate to score a run. He said that's just a little bit sore, nothing more than that. So all in all, a good night for him because just dealing with some pain and nothing more, guys.
I talked to him earlier, Ryan. He said that when you initially get hit like that, it didn't really feel it right away, but after a few seconds, it all came down on him at one time. He just kind of went down on one knee and felt his stomach turn over, and that's the feeling you get.
Good bunt. DeWitt comes in at third. What a play!
An outstanding play there. I thought there was no chance to get Escobar at first base on that bunt. It was bunted well right down the line, just fair. And Blake DeWitt made an outstanding play here. I mean, he didn't give it away. Just comes in and just makes an outstanding play here.
Good call.
Yeah, a lot of times just watch the first base coach, and if he doesn't react, then normally it's a good call by the umpire.
Chris Getz was the victim of a good play in the 2nd inning on a ground ball to Carlos Pena. Escobar, even though he was hoping for more than a sacrifice, that's what he gets to move Trainer up to second base. No balls, 2 strikes. Chris Getz has had a lot of fun against the National League this year with a .417 batting average. Batting average overall at the moment is at .260. Thanks in large part to his work against the National League. Almost got him on the foot. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Getz has been able to stay healthy this year. Remember, he had an oblique injury early in the season. last year and then had the concussion. His season ended on September the 12th, and we haven't heard that word uttered once in regard to Chris Getz this year.
Well, you're right, Brian. And after making the error that it eventually cost the Royals a win in Game 1, he came back last night and got the game-winning hit. So the statement he made, that he said, "I'm glad we played the next day in this game and had a chance to go from being a goat to a hero."
It is a grind playing every single day, and especially in the hot summer months, but that's the hard part of it. The good part is, as you described, if Getz were playing for the Chiefs, he'd have to think about that play for 6 days.
That makes the talk shows for a whole week. Well, you know, I always tell guys the best you're ever going to feel in a baseball season is the first day before spring training starts. After that, you're going to feel something every day somewhere.
Up the middle, Castro knocked it down. Here comes Trainer to the plate. The Royals get a run back, and Getz hustles into second base. So good base running all over the place for the Royals on that play. And it is 5-3.
You want to see consistency. This is it. And Chris Getz knowing exactly what he can do. He wants to go back through the middle. Castro makes a great attempt to knock this down, but didn't get it done. That Trainer comes in to score, but there just seems to be just a lot of confusion between LeMahieu and Castro as to who's going to cover second base. So I tell you, that's one of the things you never want to have happen in the middle of the infield. You got to have some communication. LeMahieu's got to go right to the bag in that situation. Don't leave that bag open and give that base runner even a thought of going down there.
So a 400 homestand for Chris Getz, and he's not done yet today. Not done yet in this inning. Trying to come home as Melky Cabrera takes ball one. Melky started the 4-run first with a bunt single, bunting the very first pitch thrown by Randy Wells to the third base side. And then he grounded out in the second. Lifted to left, it will carry. And Soriano backs up just in front of the track. Gets back to second, and 2 down. Well, if you're interested in the 2012 All-Star Game here at Kauffman Stadium, you can secure your seat with season tickets. And how about this deal? If you buy 2 season tickets, you get 2 free, starting at just $7 per game. For details, call 816-504-4040 or go to Royals.com. Inside, ball one to Eric Hosmer. He singled to left field in the first inning, came around to score, struck out in the second. Inside again, 2-0. Cubs just got 2 in the top of the 4th inning to make it a 1-run game. And the Royals raining on that parade by getting a run back in the bottom of the 4th. Royals have 8 hits off of Randy Wells. Wells has already walked 2, so 10 base runners in the first 3 2/3 innings. Two balls, 2 strikes. There's a pitch right there that maybe Hosmer, if he could do it again, wouldn't swing at. And it would be 3-1.
Yeah, that's where the patience comes in with young hitters. They're going to be aggressive for a while, and they'll start to figure things out. But anything they think they can get their bat on, they're going to try to get their bat on it.
To left center field, and a base hit. Another opposite field base hit for Hosmer. This time he drives in a run, and the Royals get both of the runs back.
We talked about being aggressive and not really getting that perfect pitch, and this is the pitch before. It goes down, and he gets out front and rolls over, and and hits a ball foul down the line and goes with another same pitch exactly almost, and he just stays inside this ball and hits it the other way for a base hit. So just maintaining that consistency pitch to pitch is what he's got to get better at. But right there, that's when he's going that direction, and that's always a good sign. When you see Chris Getz scores on the base hit.
So for the most part, doing a good job of moving the ball around. Most of his hits to center field and right field. Billy pulls it to third. It's going to be a long throw for DeWitt, and it's in time. That's the inning. The Royals get 2 runs, and they lead 6-3. Four in the bottom of the first inning. The Cubs had just made it a 1-run game, and the Royals come back in the bottom of the fourth with 2 more.
Well, it's nice to answer. And I think Roy's been really on the attack since the first inning, Ryan. And they look like they hit Randy Wells. Maybe a hit from being out of this ball game, but with Franco getting caught at third base on a stolen base, he's gone 4 innings.
Fighting the sun all the way to the end. Now Cedes Escobar retires Kosuke Fukudome. So he's 0 for 2 with a walk. And Luke Hochevar gets an out on 1 pitch with 2 outs and nobody on in the 4th inning. The Cubs came up with 2. And the final out was well hit by second baseman DJ LeMahieu. The Cubs came very close to tying the game in the 4th inning. Outside to Castro, who is singled and grounded into a double play, and the Royals have turned 2 double plays behind Hochevar this afternoon. One and one. Kevin Napier yesterday inducted into the Royals Hall of Fame, the 24th member now of the Royals Hall. One hop to Moustakas. Strong throw over to Hosmer. 4 pitches and 2 outs. Our Sprint You Call It question for today, on the topic of pitchers going into the Royals Hall of Fame, we asked you who is the next pitcher inducted into the Royals Hall, and 49% going with Kansas City kid David Cone.
Yeah, a lot of pitchers would love to have the career he had.
Aramis Ramirez is 0 for 2 after going 5 out of 9 with a home run in the first 2 games. 1 ball, 1 strike. One hop to Moustakas again. That's the inning that Hochevar needed. 3 up, 3 down on only 7 pitches. Kansas City. Here's today's AT&T trivia question. Who was president when the Cubs last played in the World Series? Oh, there's part one. Who was president when the Cubs last won the World Series? Two balls and no strikes on Alex Gordon, who is 2 for 2 with a double, an RBI, a run scored, and a single. Two balls and 1 strike. Well, the Cubs have not won a World Series since 1908, and they haven't been to the World Series since 1945. I don't remember exactly when. Well, I know the answer to this. That just answered it as I was going with an in-the-house concept. We'll get to that in a moment. Today's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefebvre with Frank White, Joel Goldberg, producer Kevin Shank, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. Got to think in the house, and I was going to say I don't remember exactly when FDR died, but he was replaced by Harry Truman, so that's in the house. So I'm going to go with Truman for part 2.
I'll go with you on that one.
1908 when they won it. I believe that was the other end of the Black Sox scandal, wasn't it?
Was that the 1908? Was it that late? Early?
Of course, the big story was the Black Sox, throwing the World Series to the Gamblers, but I believe it was the Cubs who won it that year. Frank Coeur lines to center field, so 2 down. Frank Coeur also having a big day, 2 hits and an RBI. Taft. Well, Truman, we knew that one, but who was the other president, Frank? 1908.
I wasn't born.
Here, let me lean out of the booth and ask Denny. I think he graduated from high school that year. I think that was his first year broadcasting for the Royals. Fouled away by Moustakas. No balls, 2 strikes. Okay, the answer is Teddy Roosevelt.
Well, you hit on one of the Roosevelt.
Castro going to have to wait for the second bounce and in time to get Moustakas. So the Royals are down quickly, and at the end of 5 they lead 6-3. Who's the Royals 6-3 in the final game with the Cubs. It's carsoup.com. Email the booth day, and let's go to Joel.
All right, Ryan, thank you. A bunch of questions, and one with the Hall of Fame induction last night, and the question you guys had, the spring question before, coming from Artie Parker, North Platte, Nebraska. What are the requirements for a player to be inducted into the Royals Hall of Fame?
Well, I read it yesterday. It was,
I believe it's 3 years and 75% of the vote, Joel.
Because for the Baseball Hall of Fame, it's 5 years.
Yes.
Your career has to be done for 5 years. And for the Royals, it's 3. The criteria changed this year, and the panel of voters changed this year.
It did change a lot.
I thought they just said, Frank, what do you think, yes or no?
On what?
Who should go in?
Oh, who should go? I have a vote, so I can't.
You're Frank White.
I can't name it. I can't name any names.
Why? Of course you can.
Frank, this is a good question. I think that
I'll tell you who I voted for. Go
Ryan?
ahead, Joel. I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't want to change the subject. But
No, go right ahead.
Susan Westmoreland wants to know, Frank, do the players hear the crowd cheering during clutch situations and big plays, or do they tune it out?
Oh, they hear it, believe me. I mean, especially when you're at home and the crowd's for you, and you don't really let it get into your focus in terms of what you have to do, but you definitely hear it. You even hear that one guy that yells out when everybody's quiet, but you do tune it out. You do hear it. You do appreciate it when you got the crowd behind you.
It reminds me, Joel, I asked Frank a question about that. I think it was last year. We were watching highlights of I don't remember if it was the 80 or the 85 World Series up on Crown Vision, and they showed an at-bat with Frank. And I asked him a question along those lines. I said, when you came to the plate, did it ever occur to you that the whole world was watching you every at-bat? And Frank said, every time.
Every time. Well, when you're in the World Series and playoffs, you plan for the city. You plan for everybody, and it's just totally a different experience.
I like Jeff Francoeur's approach. If he's being heckled in the outfield, if they're on the road, he just said he kind of plays back with them and has a good time and wins them over.
Well, on the road, that's what you have to do, especially in a hostile situation, for sure. I remember one time I was in a clutch situation and
deflected by Escobar. So in a way, Pena beats the shift. He's 1 for 3.
I was in a clutch situation. I came back in, and if you watch this replay here, Escobar playing second base, dives and the ball goes off the end of his glove. He's on the wrong side of the infield. Then I didn't come through in that situation, and I came back to the bench. This one, guys, the older guys, not older guys, the guys have been there a while, used to kind of rib you when you have a strange at bat. And he says, Frank, he said the crowd was with you, and you let them down.
Gee, I wonder who said that to you.
Big John.
Yeah.
He was my roommate too. Well, I never did forget that. So anytime you get in those clutch situations, you do know the crowd's there for sure.
Ryan, this is a good question only because it made me chuckle the way it started, and it kind of brought me back to Floyd Bannister and the announcer. Well, splitting the announcers, right?
Yep.
This one just from Seth Harkin in Moberly, Missouri says, so Booth, who would you consider has the best chance at a Gold Glove this year for the Royals? So Booth. But, it's a good question because we've talked a lot about Alcides Escobar, but there's a lot of good defense being played out there this year.
Well, it's very difficult, unfortunately, and I don't like this rule where you just vote for 3 outfielders instead of every position. I mean, I think Escobar, I haven't seen a better shortstop in the American League. We don't see everyone every day like we do Escobar, but, why wouldn't Alex Gordon be considered for a Gold Glove? Jeff Francoeur considered for a Gold Glove. Melky Cabrera, for that matter. Yeah,
the considerations are definitely there, Ryan. And like you say, just the outfield is so jammed, and most times it's the center fielder that gets the voters' eye through the course of the season. But in terms of Escobar, you look at Elvis Andrus at Texas. He would be a very good all-around shortstop, and the offense might be one that it's not supposed to come into play, but it does come into play because managers and coaches vote on it. And so that would be the only negative right now to Escobar is the power numbers at the shortstop position.
Good slider, strikes out Reed Johnson. Johnson's second strikeout today, and Hochevar has 5. Remember, you can take your group out to Kauffman Stadium and save big. Groups of 20 or more get a significant discount compared to single game ticket prices. For those group tickets, call 816-504-4040 or visit royals.com/group. And if you come out in a group, why not be coordinated with your clothing? That would be the Dooley green shirt group from Winterset, Iowa.
It's up near Des Moines.
I got one more for you guys.
Go ahead.
I got a lot more, but and it does make sense. I mean, calling you guys Booth, right? It is email the Booth, but
yep.
Booth. And you guys are together. I'm
Great
just calling you
start.
Booth now. Trent Guyer from Mound Ridge, Kansas, and look, I know some questions are appropriate, some aren't. This isn't inappropriate, but it just made me laugh, and I'm going to ask it. 4-year-old Andrew Guyer.
Hurry up, Joel.
Saved.
So out at first base, Pena drilled by the throw by Hosmer and got to his feet quickly and goes to third. So DeWitt is out, and a runner at third base with 2 down.
Hosmer does a good job making his play right at the bag and stepping on the bag, but the throw down to Escobar was a little low into the wrong side of the base there and hit Pena right in the back. And I think that's when you got to try to keep up above the shoulders so the shortstop can get a pretty good look at it. But he threw it down and hit him off the right hip, and he was able to go on to third base after that.
It's an error on Hosmer, and it's outside to Soriano. Go ahead, Joel.
You guys have to be creative on this one, and now there's 2 outs. 4-year-old Andrew Guyer wants to know who your favorite superhero is.
Superhero.
That made me laugh.
I like Royals superfan Chris. It's probably my favorite superhero.
I think growing up, Joe, I think Batman was my favorite.
I like Superman, but then I moved here and I became a Frank White fan.
Good answer.
Oh, man.
I used to watch Batman quite a bit.
I've got some butter for that toast.
But you don't have a green hat.
There's Chris.
Chris is the man.
Yep. I have an autographed baseball in my work bag here, signed by Royals superfan Chris.
You're the only one. I've got to join you someday.
You put that on eBay?
No, I'm going to hang on to that.
Memorabilia.
Now, I wonder on Super, is it Super Fan Cape Day
coming up?
I wonder if he'll change.
No. Remember the Green Lantern?
Yes.
I like the Green Lantern.
They just had a bad movie come out, I heard.
How about the Wonder Twins?
Activate. Wonder Twin powers activate. Remember that?
Yep.
So anyway, 3 balls, 2 strikes on Alfonso Soriano.
It took a 4-year-old fan to take us down this road.
Just missed outside, and Frank was just talking an inning ago about how Soriano with 2 strikes seems to just swing at anything. And I guess, you know, the way his hips open up, that looked like a guy who wasn't expecting that pitch.
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, he just, mainly he's chasing that slider down in the way. That was a fastball on the outer half.
So Luke Hochevar goes 5 2/3 innings today. He leaves 2 behind, and it's Lewis Coleman in the Chevy call to the bullpen. was going to cruise today, perhaps to his 5th win of the year, and he still can win the game, but he's out with 2 outs in the 6th inning. And with runners at 1st and 3rd, it's Lewis Coleman. He has stranded 13 of 17 inherited runners, and he inherits 2 in this inning. Carlos Pena at 3rd, who opened the inning with an infield single, went to 3rd on an error. Alfonso Soriano just walked, and Coleman, who can be so tough on right-hand hitters, gets Giovanni Soto. Something else to consider with Hochevar's exit: Soto has homered and doubled against Hochevar today. Both hits have driven in runs, and he represents the tying run. Soto has homered in back-to-back games. High and away, 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, this is a little bit different approach than Ed Yost took today. Normally, Luke Hochevar would be in there to try to work through that situation, and Ned, after sort of watching the tendencies that Luke has displayed of late, saying, you know, maybe we should just make this move now and let the bullpen take it over. So to me, the best motivating factor to push pitchers to another level is to get the bullpen up in the innings that they seem to have the most trouble, and hopefully that'll propel them to the next level.
4-pitch walk. So this sets up an intriguing matchup. Former teammates at LSU, and both played huge roles in the 2009 national championship. We told you that Coleman was on the mound for the final out when LSU beat Texas. DJ LeMahieu in game 1. LSU was down all game trying to catch up to Texas. They were down by 2 in the 9th inning. 2 on, 2 out, 2 strikes. So LSU down to their last strike, and LeMahieu hit a 2-run double to tie the game. LSU won in the 10th and went on to win the 3-game series. And when I asked Lewis Coleman about his former teammate at LSU, that was the immediate response. He goes, I can tell you what the biggest hit of his life was, and described that scenario. And now here they are hooking up against one another in the big leagues for the first time. 1 ball, 1 strike. LeMahieu struck out and grounded out hard to second baseman Chris Getz in his 2 at-bats against Hochevar. One and 2. Both Coleman and LeMahieu were drafted by their teams that same year. LeMahieu going in the 2nd round of the Cubs. Wanted to go after the slider, and he did. Boy, might have been a good call for the Royals. Coleman gets the job done in the 6th.
Curtis from Kansas City, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Dave will win $3,200. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Dave will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
So Randy Wells pitches into the sixth, which seemed like a long shot early in the first inning when the first 6 Royals reached, and the Royals scored 4 runs as Wells made 24 pitches. He gave up 2 more runs in the 4th, and he throws high to Matt Trainer.
Well, you're right, Brian. That first inning, the Cubs had someone up in the bullpen, and it seemed like Randy Wells was probably 1 hit away from being out of the game. But the Royals attempted to steal third, Francoeur, and he was thrown out to end the inning.
Hit hard to center field, and Johnson made the catch.
Matt Trainer's hit 2 balls right on the nose. One he was fortunate enough to get a sacrifice fly on, and this one here, they just squared this ball up. Johnson comes in and makes a nice shoestring rolling over catch right there. Gets it right in the webbing of the glove. Nice drop and roll, and back on his feet.
Escobar is struck out and laid down a sacrifice bunt in the middle of the Royals' 2-run 4th inning. Castro behind the bag throws on the run, and Pena digs it out. So 2 good defensive plays for the Cubs in the bottom of the 6th inning. The 4 greatest moments in Major League All-Star Game history are going head-to-head to determine which is the most memorable of all time. Go to MLB.com/moments. Vote now for your favorite, and then tune into the All-Star Game on July 12th at 7 p.m. on Fox. Find out who won. Chris Getz has an RBI single, a run scored. 1 for 2 today. One ball, 1 strike. On the ground to LeMahieu, and it's a fast inning for Wells. 8 pitches in the 6th. Kansas City broadcast booth. You'll never sacrifice taste for 0 calories again. Same great taste, right, Frank White?
Right, Rhino.
Give it a taste.
Gotcha.
Pepsi Max, 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. We didn't even rehearse that, too.
That was awesome.
Lewis Coleman with 2 on, 2 out in the 6th, walked a batter, and then struck out his former LSU teammate DJ LeMahieu to get out of the 6th inning. And now gets Kosuke Fukudome, the top of the Cubs order. He was 0 for 2 with a walk against Luke Hochevar. 5 2/3 for Hochevar, 88 pitches, allowed 3 runs, 7 hits. One ball, 2 strikes. Final game of the homestand for the Royals, and then their second consecutive 9-game, 10-day trip. Fukudome strikes out for the 2nd time. And it's the 2nd strikeout for Coleman.
Yeah, nice backdoor breaking ball. Lewis don't use this pitch a lot, but this pitch comes in and it's right on the corner. You can see Fukudome give up on this pitch. The 2 strikes, anything close. Don't leave it in the hands of the umpire.
So a walk, 2 strikeouts for Coleman. And now Starlin Castro. Castro extended his hitting streak to 10 games in the 1st inning. That's a new career high. And he has grounded out twice since then. One of those ground balls was a double play. Good pitch, 0-2.
Outstanding. That motion that Coleman has, you know, you get young hitters sometimes, they'll just hold that one spot and hope you make a mistake on the inner half of the plate. But this ball goes to the outside corner, and they don't have that enough to get out there and make that adjustment to that pitch.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Still 1-2. Don't forget, fans, you can always enjoy the game from a unique view at Rivals Sports Bar, located in the outfield just beyond the stadium's signature fountains. You'll enjoy one-of-a-kind seating with drinks and food on deck. For more information and for reserving your table, visit royals.com/rivals. Thought about it, and it's 2-2 on Castro. The Royals will be going to San Diego after this game. They'll be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, going up against former Royals pitcher Bud Black and the Padres, and a 3-game series next weekend in Denver. And then the Royals are back to intra-league play and will face the other Chicago team, and then home for 4 against the Tigers, and then the All-Star break. Got him with a fastball, so set him up with the slider. So Coleman came on, issued a 4-pitch walk, and now he has struck out 3 in a row.
Well, you see right there, Ryan, that ball goes to the outer half, and Castro just not able to get there. He had to reach for it, and I think that arm slot just holds him back a little bit and won't allow him to go out there and get that pitch. So he was just hoping that pitch was inside. He had to swing like the pitch was inside.
Aramis Ramirez misses the first pitch. A quiet day for him. First of all, he's the DH, so he's not out on the field. And at the plate, 0 for 3 after going 5 for 9 with a home run in the first 2 games. 0-2. Laid off the slider. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Ramirez.
Well, when you look at Coleman, what's confusing about him is that he's almost throwing the ball like it's behind the right-handed hitter, so they don't really take the proper step that they need to cover the entire plate. So really that outside corner is always there for him against most right-handed hitters. As long as he don't leave it up so they can reach it down in the strike zone on the outer half, he's got a pretty good chance.
And as he has pointed out to us, that even though he looks like he's throwing across his body, and he is, but it's not as bad as it looked because his back foot on the rubber is not totally up against the rubber. His back foot is cocked towards the third base dugout, so when he strides to the plate, he's actually striding straight. Fouled away again.
Yeah, that pitch there wasn't one that he'd like to throw too many times. That was a breaking ball that stayed in the middle of the plate. But, you know, really with Lewis Coleman, it wouldn't hurt him sometimes to run that fastball inside the right-handed hitters. And you can see that setup that you're talking about right here. And by the time he ends up, he's right in line with home plate. So I see how he explains that.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Rubber game of the series. And still 2 balls, 2 strikes. And we were talking about Ramirez and how he gets hits when he's off balance, but the way he cocks the bat, he really creates a lot of torque.
Well, you got to make him use that wrist a little bit better.
And that hit him. So it's 5 straight non-contact plate appearances. And Ned Yost going to make a pitching change, a walk, a hit batter, and 3 strikeouts in between. And with left-hand hitting Carlos Pena coming up, Ned Yost wants lefty Tim Collins. Royals by 3. A Chevy call to the bullpen. 2 outs in the 7th inning. He strikes out 3 of the 5 batters he faces. So it's Tim Collins to try and get the final out, and we'll get Carlos Pena. This will be his league leading 36th appearance, and the number that Collins continues to work on, walks. 29 walks in 37 innings. When he forces hitters to put the ball in play, look at that bottom line. They hit 189.
Well, that's a big difference, and so you don't want to set the table for them when they're hitting 189. You don't want to put free men on the base. We can see where he's learning, and he's trying to make the adjustments to coming out of the bullpen, knowing that you just can't come out of the bullpen and throw fastballs. So he's trying to integrate his curveball in there a little bit more, his changeup in there a little bit more. But I think one of the best things a guy coming out of the bullpen can be able to do is so first pitch breaking ball over the plate. If you can do that, you're going to be successful more times than not.
And Collins just as deceptive from this side as Coleman is from the right side. And the way they place their foot on the slab is very similar. It's not with the outside of the foot right up against the edge of the slab. Both kind of just have the tips of their toes making contact.
Just a little bit.
Which is a rule. Pitcher must be making some sort of contact with the pitcher's slab. And some will really stretch out that rule. The guy that stands out for me, Johan Santana. When we saw him with Minnesota, he was way over on the third base side of the pitcher's rubber. And if he was making contact with it, it was as slight as possible. Big curveball, and it drops low, according to home plate umpire Mark Ripperger.
Yeah, I don't know how this ball right here wasn't called a strike. I mean, that's a good pitch when it passes the hitter. And the trainer, when he caught it, he let his glove drop a little lower. That made it give an appearance that the pitch was low. But you got to try to hold that glove there and give the umpire a good look at it.
Hit hard, but Getz playing Pena perfectly. So Coleman gets the final out. Stretch time at Kauffman Stadium with the Royals in front by 3. Nice. Often known as America's hometown, striving to keep the days of Mark Twain alive. You can explore Mark Twain's famous boyhood home and 2 museums. You can take a ride on the Mark Twain riverboat, and you can take a tour of the Mark Twain cave that was made famous by Twain in 5 of his books. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. And good to see Mark Twain at the ball game today. Just hanging in there until the Cubs win the World Series.
There was a sign in the stands last night. A gentleman held it up. It says, "I'm 84. Could this be the year?" Then at the bottom it said, "Please."
I said Coleman got the job done in the 7th inning. That was partially correct. Collins got the final out, so Coleman and Collins combining for a scoreless 7th inning. And here's Randy Wells. Yep, the same Randy Wells who gave up 4 runs in the 1st inning. The first 5, make that the first 6 reached against him. The first 5 with hits. And he gave up 2 more runs in the 4th. He has retired 7 in a row and trying to go past 6 innings for the first time this year. And this will be the 4th time to the order for the Royals. Cabrera, Hosmer, and Butler in the 7th. Melky with a bunt single on the first pitch thrown by Wells in the bottom of the first. Came around to score. He's 1 for 3 today. Melky's next hit will be his 90th. In 147 games for the Braves last year, Melky Cabrera had 117 hits. Last season, batting average was 9 points off, but the home runs and RBIs were way off for Melky Cabrera. So a bounce back season for him with the Royals.
When you think about it, he batted second most of the season until Daniels made the recent lineup change, and with the bottom of the order really not swinging the bat well for the most part of the games until recently. Escobar got hot and Getz started hot on and started playing pretty much every day, but before then it was pretty sporadic at the bottom of the order. But when you look at this RBI total for batting second, it's pretty impressive.
Base hit to right field, so he gets his 90th hit. That snaps the string, and it might knock Randy Wells out of the game. And Mike Quade is going to ask for a left-hand pitcher with Eric Hosmer coming up. Interleague scores, Detroit and Cleveland tied for first place in the Central. Detroit way out in front. Pittsburgh's won 4 in a row. They continue to play well. Boston has lost 4 straight. Philadelphia over Oakland, one of the few finals so far. Roy Halladay winning his 10th. We'll see the White Sox. They're 2 games below 500. Minnesota has lost 4 in a row after winning 8 straight. We'll be seeing the San Diego Padres tomorrow. They host the Atlanta Braves. And the Dodgers and the Angels are hooking up in Southern California. James Russell has now appeared in all 3 games of the series. Two-thirds scoreless for Russell on Friday, and a third scoreless last night. Throws a strike to Eric Hosmer. Hosmer faced Russell on Friday and grounded out to first. 2 singles, both to the opposite field today. He has driven in a run. He has scored a run. And that's popped up to the left side. Castro runs to the outfield grass, fighting the sun, literally. and makes the play. Tough day, and we've had all kinds of different conditions for the fielders. For a while it was overcast and the clouds were about the same shade as a rubbed up baseball. Now the overcast has moved out and it's a very bright day, a hot, humid day. So Mike Quade, Cubs manager, going with Russell to face Hosmer and Gordon. But in between, he's going to have to deal with a right-hand batter, Billy Butler. He drove in a run with a single in the first inning, and Billy has hit in 7 in a row.
Yeah, Billy's just got that nice swing. It's just one of those guys you can imagine not getting a base hit when you watch his approach on a daily basis. So if he gets out, he usually gets himself out when he gets out, because he has the ability to use line to line. Back through the middle. The only thing that I'd probably like to see him do is in hitting counts 2-0, 3-1. Just try to change his swing just a little bit. Just try to elevate the ball a little bit more in those counts, and that'll help you in terms of your home run production by the end of the year.
So Russell has no trouble with the right-hand batter. Billy down on 3 pitches. So a pop out to short and a strikeout for Russell, and now he gets Alex Gordon.
Oh, pretty impressive pitching. Billy Butler right there just went right after him. Fastball, didn't try to trick him at all.
Right-handers before Billy was retired hitting .327 against James Russell. Another good day for Alex. This has been an excellent homestand for him. 2 out of 3 today. He has a 13-game hitting streak, and on this homestand he is 10 out of 21. 3 doubles, a triple, a home run, 3 runs driven in, 3 walks.
I guess with Alex, you can use the term new and improved. I mean, he's just really this is a complete turnaround, and this is a turnaround that nobody really expected. You know, I managed him in the minor leagues. I really saw what kind of potential he really had, and then getting to the major leagues and watching him struggle for the first 2 or 3 years, it's kind of tough. But you know, just him making that commitment that he needs to make a change, and having the kind of success he's having, it makes him and both hitting coach Kevin Seitzer look good, because now they're working together. Same with the transition of Escobar.
Little half swing, tough hop for Castro, but he stays with it, and the Royals are down in the 7th inning. And let's take a look at today's Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment.
Well, it came from Lewis Coleman. They hadn't pitched in over a week, and he comes in this last inning and he strikes out LeMahieu with a slider, a backdoor slider to Fukudomi, and a fastball by Starlin Castro.
And now Aaron Crow trying to get the ball to Joakim Soria. Aaron Crow was the losing pitcher on Friday night when the Cubs won 6-4, giving up 2 runs in the 9th inning. One of the runs was unearned. 2 runs, 3 hits. It'll be Reed Johnson, the number 5 hitter, followed by Blake DeWitt and Alfonso Soriano. Bunted foul. Johnson doubled and scored in the 4th inning. Otherwise, he struck out twice. Both of those strikeouts against Luke Hochevar. 5 2/3 for Hochevar. Gave up all 3 Chicago runs. Lewis Coleman pitched a scoreless inning. Tim Collins 1/3 of an inning. Good hard breaking ball, and it's 0-2. Fastball at 97 puts him away. A 3-pitch strikeout to begin the 8th inning. And the Royals pitching staff today has struck out 9.
Coleman comes in with that blazing fastball, and he also has that little tight slider, but here he just goes right after him on the outside corner. There's no chance.
And Blake DeWitt rolls it to Chris Getz. 2 quick outs in the 8th inning. When the Royals drafted Aaron Crow in 2009, and for that matter when the Nationals drafted him the year before, they were thinking starter. And there's a good chance that he'll get another chance to start for the Royals. Who knows? But Aaron has said that he has really enjoyed this role, and I think it's a little more than just happy to be in the big leagues and do whatever I can to help the team. Because one of his comments was that he doesn't like so much having a lot of time in between appearances to think about his last appearance and his upcoming appearance. In some ways, he can approach it like an everyday player. He doesn't know when he's going to come in. It might be every day for 3 or 4 days in a row.
But the Royals kind of went through that with Zach Greinke when he was trying to figure out whether he was going to be a guy out of the bullpen or be a starter, and he didn't really like sitting between innings. I mean, between games. And I know in the minor leagues, he just go out and power shag all day and wear himself out just so he can feel like he's doing something every day. But some guys are like that, and they like the idea of knowing that I can be used every day, and they want to be able to be active every day. And that's a long time, 5 days in between.
And for some people, all that time in between starts is right up their alley. More of somebody like Brian Bannister, for instance. I mean, someone who really likes the stats and the data and the video. I mean, he loved that time in between starts. And you know, it's a lot different, not just because of the level of play when you get to the big leagues, but all of the information that you have to digest when one becomes a starter at the major league level.
A lot of video, too much video. I mean, it's overkill. You just can't. You can only get so much from it. You got to be able to, at some point, really assess your own abilities and your own performance.
An excellent 8th inning today. 3 up, 3 down, 2 strikeouts.
At Kauffman Stadium after the game on Boulevard Royals Live, Jeff Montgomery and I will break down a fast start for the Royals offense in this game. We'll take a look as well at Luke Hochevar, plus an impressive day so far for the Royals bullpen. Hear from Ned Yost. Reaction and much more coming up on Boulevard Royals Live, guys.
Okay, thank you, Joel. Chris Carpenter will pitch for the Cubs. Great arm. And he came on in game 1 on Friday. It was a struggle for him, pitching a third of an inning with a couple of walks, but on a few occasions lighting up the radar gun with 100 miles an hour. Just his 7th appearance. Francoeur, Moustakas, and Trainer in the bottom of the 8th. Royals got 4 in the first inning. 3 of the 4 runs scored before Randy Wells got an out. Cubs then made it a 1-run game, getting 1 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th. And as exciting as that first inning was, with the Royals coming out of the gate and scoring 4, the most important inning for the Royals today was their 2-run 4th inning, answering the Cubs and getting right back out to a 3-run lead again.
Well, I agree with that, and you kind of get shut down, and you kind of have an opportunity to get a pitcher out of the game, and he rebounds and gets through the game. But you're right, Ryan. Whenever the other team scores, you come back and score. That gives everybody a lot more confidence.
2 hits for Francoeur and an RBI, his team leading 46. He has driven in 3 in the series and has only started 2 of the games. 1 ball, 2 strikes against Chris Carpenter. He got Francoeur on a ground ball back to the mound on Friday night. Hit hard and a base hit, a 3-hit game for Jeff Francoeur.
Sometimes sitting and watching a little bit does help you, but here this is a slider in the middle of the plate, and Jeff Francoeur was able to get the good pat on it and pull it in the hole. So there you go. He does a good job of just staying back, getting his hands through, good finish, and the ball jumped off his bat.
That's Francoeur's 5th 3-hit game this year, and his first in about 2.5 weeks, going back to June 8th. Mike Moustakas 0 for 2 with a first inning walk. He is hit in 4 in a row. Outside at 97. One ball, 1 strike. And Francoeur goes. Got a pretty good jump and out. Strong throw by Soto. And a good tag by Castro. It's the first time all year Jeff Francoeur has been thrown out, and it's been twice today.
Well, you see right here, Ryan, that front foot just came right down on top of Starlin Castro's glove, and he stayed right with the tag. And I don't think that they caught it the first time. I don't think Jeff Kellogg saw it the first time. He came right down on top of the glove. He waited for him to slide off the base and get the second tag before he called him out.
Francoeur had been 11 for 11 in stolen base attempts before today. Thrown out in the first, trying to steal third, and now here in the 8th.
Well, we found out one thing: Soto can't throw.
And Moustakas strikes out, 2 away. Next time you want to catch a Royals game, head to StubHub, where you'll find the seats you want and the freedom to choose where you want to sit. StubHub is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Royals. Those are the StubHub upgrade seats on the lower concourse. So 2 down to Matt Trainer. Joakim Soria getting ready for the top of the 9th inning. And the Cubs will send up Giovanni Soto, DJ LeMahieu, and Kosuke Fukudome. Trainer 0 for 1. He has a sacrifice fly. That was a line out to left, a walk, and a line out to center. And a nice play by Reed Johnson. And another line drive to the outfield. He'll get a hit this time. Johnson cuts it off. Trainer taking a wide turn, and he'll hold with a 2-out single.
One thing about Matt Trainer today, he's been on the fastball. Every time he's got a good fastball to hit, he's really hit a line drive. He hit the line drive for the sac fly, line drive that was caught by Reed in center field on a shoestring fashion, and the other line drive in the right center field. A nice swing. They always like to see that top hand. That top hand goes under and then roll after you get through the ball, and that tells you really got through the baseball.
98 and a strike to Escobar. 0 for 2, the victim of 2 good plays on defense by the Cubs. If not for a good play by Blake DeWitt in the 4th inning, his sacrifice bunt would have been a hit. And then his counterpart, Starlin Castro, running up the middle on a ground ball headed to center field. And throwing out Escobar. That was in the 6th. One ball, 2 strikes. Royals are trying to win their first series this year against a National League team. Dropped 2 out of 3 and both of their series against the Cardinals, and then swept at the beginning of this homestand by Arizona. And now they've split the first 2 games with the Cubs. Out in front of the plate, Carpenter throws it off the tarp. Trainer will stop at 3rd. Escobar is into 2nd. Both Soto and Carpenter wanted it. Only problem is only one of them can make the play. It is both a single and an error.
Well, you're right, Ryan. You get in close like that, you got to have some communication. Soto really should have ran Carpenter off this ball and made this play himself. But they got bumped. He got bumped right there, and never did get that arm in the right angle, and he just really airmailed this ball over Pena at first base. And it's fortunate that nothing really bad happened after that. You got that good backup from Fukudome in right field on that play, and that saved him a run right there.
So here's Chris Getz with a chance to give the Royals some cushion for the top of the 9th inning. Another RBI for Getz. Drove in the go-ahead run in the 8th inning last night with an infield single. 262 is the batting average altogether. But with runners in scoring position, and there are 2 out there, you can add almost 120 points to the batting average. 1-1. Six runs, 13 hits for the Royals. Two and one. That one coming in at 100.
He's one of those guys that you got a runner on first base. He takes off for second, but when he's going 100 miles an hour, that helps to catch out a lot. And make it for a lot of steps.
And Getz 2 balls, 2 strikes going out of the strike zone.
Well, Chris really wants the ball out away from him, and that fastball had a lot more tail to it and it was up a little bit higher than he likes, but he likes the fastball going that direction so he can slap it in the left field.
Still 2-2. Fighting to stay alive, fouling off a 100-mile-per-hour pitch. Because of Francoeur caught stealing, Carpenter still with a scoreless inning, even though he's given up 3 hits and he has committed an error. Another foul ball just below us. Trainer at third, Escobar at second. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Great at bat. 8 pitches. And looking at Fox tracks, there really is not one part of the strike zone or around the strike zone that Getz can hone in on. Carpenter's been all over the place. Only 1 pitch in Fox tracks. And just fouling and spoiling 1 pitch after another.
Do you think the home plate umpire, Mark Ripperger, you think he's having a hard time focusing in on the strike zone with all those pitches around the square?
And a walk. Boy, he earned that.
Outstanding at bat.
4 base runners, no runs. Pitching coach Mark Riggins is out. Royals will be on the road tomorrow. We'll be in San Diego. Jeff Francis against Matt Latos. 9:05 first pitch. That's Central Time. Hy-Vee Royals Live is at 8:30. Royals will play the Padres tomorrow night, Tuesday night, Wednesday afternoon. Royals have really made the most of their scoring chances today. 13 hits, but only 4 runners left on base. 4 runs in the first, 2 more in the fourth. They haven't scored since. Soria is ready in the bullpen. In fact, he's up against the back wall, just trying to stay out of the sun and the heat. Now he's going to get back out there, maybe throw a pitch or 2 just to stay loose, but the Royals are a run away from not needing Soria. And Cabrera drives it to left center field. Johnson on the run, and he catches up to it. So it will require Soria in the ninth. Aaron Crow setting things up for a Joakim Soria save, and Aaron Crow's 8th inning are our Chevy plays of the game.
Just trying to shut down an inning. Strikeout to Reed Johnson, got Blake DeWitt on a ground ball to Chris Getz, and he strikes out Alfonso Soriano.
Bill Soria 5 out of 5 since regaining the closer's role. Of course, there were no save opportunities when he was out of that role for a week. And he's got that opponent's batting average back down to .238. 12 saves, and his 12th was last night. That was a 1-run game. He has a 3-run game today with Giovanni Soto, DJ LeMahieu, and Kosuke Fukudome coming up.
Well, he just had good stuff last night, Ryan. He got 2 strikeouts in this inning right here, and then he closed it out with his 3rd strikeout.
And strikeouts with 3 different pitches. A curveball, then a fastball looking, and then getting the strikeout to end the game on the changeup. Soto with a home run and a double, 2 RBIs, and he has walked. And he hits a line drive base hit into right field. So he's got a perfect day, reaching for the 4th time.
Well, he's definitely found something in his swing. He just maybe just getting a few more at bats and getting a lot more comfortable, but didn't even try to pull this ball. Fastball was up away. You know, he just went right with the pitch, line drive into right field.
And here's DJ LeMahieu, and he fouls Soria's first pitch back into the netting. Looking back on all the outs today, and there have been 24 so far for the Cubs. One of the biggest outs, if not the biggest out, came in the 6th with LeMahieu at the plate, going up against his former college teammate at LSU. And with the bases loaded and 2 down, Lewis Coleman struck him out. And now he's down no balls and 2 strikes. His score was the same, 6-3 in the 6th. But the Cubs knocked Luke Kochaver out of the game. And LeMahieu had a chance to narrow the gap, but he struck out, and he does again here on a 67-mile-an-hour curveball.
I mean, how do you get ready for a pitch like this? I mean, you just can't. You just hope that it stays inside and you can make a good contact on it. But you know, that curveball's not even slow, but it's got such a tight spin to it. It just drops, you know, right underneath the bat. I mean, you see how he's got that wrist. He just flips it in there like that. But that's a lot of spin on that slow curveball. To be able to spin it that tight at that speed is pretty impressive.
Fukudome 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts. He has reached on a walk. And Soria's ahead, no balls, 2 strikes. Royals trying to finish out the homestand with a record of 2-4 before hitting the road for 10 days. 1-2 on Fukudome. Two and two.
Story is a lot different than a lot of closers. A lot of closers want to come at you with a power fastball and maybe a power slider, where Joakim Soria is more of a pitcher when he comes in the game. He uses all of his pitches, but everything is based off his fastball command.
Just high and away, and now 3-2 on Fukudome. if you're hoping for a ground ball double play. And Royals would love to see that to end the game. Fukudome, in 212 at-bats this year, has grounded into 0, which is the best in the major leagues. Ground ball. How about that? Is that a call? Royals win the series, so they lose the first 4 on the homestand, win the next 2. Soria saves both of them. Eric Hosmer had a good day with a couple of hits, an RBI, a run scored. So with 4 runs in the first and 2 in the fourth, that's all the Royals needed today. And Luke Hochevar is the winning pitcher. He gets his 5th. And good bullpen work from Lewis Coleman, Tim Collins, Aaron Crow, and Joakim Soria. And in the end, the Royals turned 3 double plays. So another good day on defense. Soria faces only 3 in the top of the 9th inning. And the Royals win it 6-3. Let's go down to the field, and here's Joel.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan. I'm kind of fighting here with Frenchie. I don't want to mess with him because put in a full day at the office, get the win. First off, for you guys to be able to finish this homestand strong with 2 wins in a row, how important?
Well, it's nice. You know, we didn't start off the exact way we wanted to. We had some tough losses in St. Louis last weekend. Lost a couple tough ones to Diamondbacks. So to come here and take the last 2 after we lost one the other night here, you know, it's good for us for this road trip.
All right, for you guys in the first inning as well, just to be able to jump on Randy Wells, almost able to get some more as well, but what about the significance of that, just being able to give Luke some of that offense?
Well, we were able to kind of get to him, you know, early, and obviously he came back and pitched a great game and held us kind of down, but, you know, we were able to get 4 there in the first, and that kind of helped settle Hoach down, and once they got back to 3 to get those 2 there to get to 6 kind of did it for us with our bullpen. The way they pitched today, we felt comfortable.
First multi-hit game for you in a little bit of a while. I don't need to remind you of that. But, I mean, Ned Yost has been saying that you've been hitting the ball hard. He could see that it was coming. I mean, have you felt that?
Well, you know, you feel pressure sometimes, even when you're not, you know, getting the results that you want. But Seitz is doing a great job of working with us every day as a team, and, you know, not just myself. And we feel comfortable with our approach right now. So hopefully, you know, we haven't done, you know, we had a pretty good road trip last road trip compared to the ones before. So hopefully we can go out west and do some good things.
All right, good luck in San Diego and on a long road trip. Thanks, Frenchie.
Thanks, guys. Thanks to all the fans.
All right, that is Jeff Francoeur, a 3-hit day for him. Ryan, let's go back upstairs to you.
All right, thanks, Joel. And the Royals really setting the tone in the first inning with 4 runs.
Well, Ryan, it all came down to the bullpen. They were lights out. Collins, Coleman, Aaron Crow, and closed it out with Joakim Soria.
So the Royals win their first